Welcome, everyone. Thank you for...
Hi, everyone. So I think Ben's having some internet issues. We are in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, so I think he might start joining us in a second. But thank you to everyone who's been waiting so patiently. So today we're going to be talking about, I guess, our universe. So our galaxy center. So it's going to be a really interesting show. We have some amazing things to talk about, and it looks like Ben is back. And hopefully, fingers crossed, third time's the charm, Ben, hopefully. We were thinking it might be some issues with his Chrome browser shutting down. So anyway, we'll just wait for Ben to continue to tap in. But whilst we do, I want to go over, because Ben and I were talking about, oh, let me just bring this up and screen share with you guys while we wait for Ben. And
apologies, everyone.
Works. So while we're waiting for Ben, I just want to show you guys. Hey, Ben, I was just going to screen share, but you're back. Fingers crossed.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the introduction. Every time I go to present, the whole thing just crashes. Now, we're saying Mercury retrograde, but this is on a next level.
and it's literally really important information that we're going to share today. So I'm not surprised. This is, when you gave me this question. So maybe do you want to talk about the question and everything, and we'll kind of flow on from there?
Sure. Thank you very much.
So I can see you guys in the chat. Thank you for joining us and for your patience. And it looks like Ben has frozen. Let me see if I can screen share with you guys. It's a little bit different doing it this time. Hold on a sec, guys. Ben's just texting me. All right. Okay, so let me just do this, and hopefully we can get the slide up. Okay, this looks like this is going to work on my end anyway. So what I wanted to share with you guys, oh, this is really weird, guys. It's not really working either. Okay, Ben said he's going to try one more time. Otherwise, we may have to redo this show when things are working. So just hold tight. I do want to share this pic though. So this is central to what we're going to be talking about today. So Ben gave me the question to have a look into, and we're getting some magpie signs. Can you guys see the magpies that we've got down here as well, just while we're waiting? So lots happening this morning. And I'm just reading your gorgeous comments too. Thank you. All right, so this is the round. We're going to be talking about the universe within. So Ben gave me the task. Let me read you guys the question that he gave me. He says he's determined. Okay, so it looks like he's going to try and rejoin us. So the question that he gave me was, he was thinking about two topics, but one of them was talking about our galactic center and the effects on multiple levels, and turning pain into power. So we're going to be looking into these topics if we can get through today. But I really want to talk about the galactic center. So as soon as I was tasked with this question, the first thing that Spirit showed me was this energy of going within. And then synchronistically through the week, found this picture that I haven't really paid attention to or looked at in quite a while. And we can see here, it kind of looks like a world within or a galaxy within. And if the screen share was working, I would show you guys what I've typed into gematria. So when you put in, and fingers crossed that Ben is joining us, I can see the screen. But anyway, I'll talk about, so we have the galaxy within. When we put that into gematria, I'm just taking you back then. Okay, it looks like that he may have gone. So I'll just share this with you guys really quickly, and we'll see if anything else happens with Ben. So when we type into gematria, the galaxy within, because a lot of our attention and a lot of our focus and everything is on the external, and especially now, there's so much external distraction, so much craziness going on in the world, and we keep getting taken out outside of ourselves. And Spirit kept showing me to go within. So when we think about like the galaxy within, we put that into gematria, the exact words, the galaxy within. What we see is she is the most precious of all galaxies. So this is really the galaxy that we need to focus on. Love is the law is another phrase that comes up. And another one, which I thought you guys might find really interesting. Hey, it looks like you're back.
I am.
Oh, you were for a second. So the other one that we had is think avatar body transfer. So what all of this was alluding to was that we are really kind of like living in a dream world. And this, I guess, external reality is more kind of like what seems to be fake. Hey Ben, how's it seem now? Is it a little bit more stable?
It seems to be super fragile. I don't know whether it's software or not, but I'm just not going to touch anything and see how it
Yeah.
goes. Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to breathe just in case. So I was just talking about, the question that you gave me looking into like our galactic center. And I was just sharing with everyone. This was the pick that came up through the week, but Spirit kept talking to me about going to this galaxy within. So I put it into gematria as well, because every time I looked into the question, Spirit kept really bringing my energy into my own internal and into the body and into like our centers. So when you type into the galaxy within, you get she is the most precious of all galaxies is what comes up into gematria. And when we type it in, we also get love is law. This one, I think you'll like then. It's think avatar body transfer. So we're literally like in a game in avatars. So this is really where we need to go to the galaxy within, microcosm, macrocosm. Another one that we had was he who has the gold makes the rules. That was an interesting one. And the astral soul who said he is not getting up. So it's almost like we're lazy teenagers who maybe didn't want to get up to go participate in other things. So we're like still in the dream realm. This one was cool too. The magus who is the son of God. So if we look into like the meaning of like the magus or Magnus, this is kind of someone who is like an inherited priest. So I thought that was really interesting when we typed that in too. And it says, own your special. So, it is really not about trying to be another character. It is about you being this character in this avatar body that we've been transferred into. So it really does give more credit to perhaps living in a simulated reality. The other one that came up when I typed in Milky Way galaxy, Andromeda galaxy didn't come up with as much, but Milky Way galaxy, goodbye evil, the light is one. So goodbye evil, the light has won. And is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? So to quote Freddie Mercury almost. And what does God want me to do? So it's really interesting what comes up when we look into those phrases into gematria. So yeah, huge topic. I'm not surprised that we've had some internet crashes this morning. Is there anywhere that you want to go?
Yeah, I
Carefully.
suppose I'll just have my fingers crossed and just make sure that everything is as fragile as it seems to be right now, that it keeps going. The place I kind of wanted to take it today was, and I've been thinking about this for weeks, is our galactic center and all of the energies that are emanating from within and coming to our planet. And I wanted to explore that just a little bit to start and just investigate, whether the trajectory that we're on is for more and more of these energies to intensify, and then to have a look at what kind of effect is this having on the people of Earth. And the reason why I wanted to go there was because overall, I'm what I'm doing here, and I have a place I want to try and go to, and the place that I'm trying to go to is, I suppose, alchemizing energy. So we're existing on this planet for in our current state for quite some time, and I think if the energies are continuing to elevate and rise, what's the effect on a spiritual and physical level for humans on this planet, and what can we take from that? Because we think about all of the the darkness that has come across the planet over probably millions of years. What does that do, or what has that done? What kind of imprint has that left on the people and the souls that have incarnate here? And
Mm.
if we are about to rise, we're in this momentum of rising. Where is this leading us? And what can we do as individuals to move past our own personal pains and trauma to move into this new, galaxy of light? Where does that lead us? And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that spirit can come in and give us some information and some direction on where this leads. Because I'm hoping that the topic will be inspiring. Because I know there are so many people who are out there who struggle with their own personal traumas and life experiences, and they really yearn for um, progressing themselves as a soul, as a spirit, and moving past all those personal pains and traumas, and moving into a world that just not physically around them has changed, but also within. So that's
Mm.
where I'm hoping that we can kind of go to, Solrita, this morning.
Yeah, no, that's a really great thing. So should we have a look like and kind of pose the question in I'm just looking at the trajectory of where we want the question to go as well. So if we can condense that one down, and it might be a two-part question. Do you think?
It will be, yeah. So let's have a look first at galactic center. Let's confirm that the energies that are coming from galactic center are going to continue to elevate over time.
Okay. So this is interesting. I keep hearing spirit say, this is just a dream. This is just a dream. It's really interesting. The other thing that I'm also getting is I'm actually seeing Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. So we've got 6 cards, and the way or the scene. So, oh, and I have also managed to buy another little camera thingy, but I've got to work out how to use it so that we'll be able to do the card view soon. So I might get your technical help with that, Ben.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
But yeah, so the vision that I was getting just touching the cards, I kept seeing Dorothy, and I kept seeing sort of like a spiral type energy. It almost looks like when you drop a pebble in water and you see the ripple or the sound type effect. So I kept seeing that. So there was spirit saying that this is just a dream, but I also saw where it was like, that scene where it's like, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. And she wakes up and realizes it was just a dream. So really interesting that that's what spirit's showing. I'll feel into the energy of the cards and we'll have a look. So because we pose the question around sort of like the trajectory of where this is leading, it's interesting that spirit keeps sort of bringing it back to, it's almost like we're in that wake up state for a dream is what they're referencing. So I'll just have a feel into these. So what they're sort of showing me is different brainwave states. And what I'm sort of seeing is when we're going into like that sleepy realm, or kind of like that state. And I forget the exact brainwave. I do have a little brainwave chart here. Just let me have a look. Okay. So we've got the brainwave cycle. So if I can read this back to front, it's a little bit dusty. So we've got gamma, superconscious, beta, conscious. We've got alpha, the subconscious, and then we've got theta, superconscious, and then we've got delta, the dream state. What I'm sort of feeling is more kind of like waking up out of this dream state. So maybe we're going from something that is deeply unconscious, sleep, astral travel, dreaming, visiting other dimensions. Maybe that's what we're kind of in this current dimension. What we see when we go above that into superconscious, drowsy, tranquil, unconscious, light sleep, shamanic journeys, accessing the 5th dimension and non-ordinary reality, the upper and lower worlds. So I actually feel that there's pulse waves from that vision they were showing me with Dorothy and kind of this energy emanating. I feel like we're actually starting to get pulse. And we know that we're getting pulses and, waves coming off the sun, and the Schumann resonance and frequency is also increasing. But maybe this is also coming from outside of our galaxy, and that's also waking up and affecting the Schumann resonance or Schumann frequency, therefore waking it up within us. So let's flip over the cards. Interesting, the rabbit holes that we go down. We never know where spirit's going to lead. And I love it how they'll reference different things that I forget that I have that are like around the place. So what we're seeing is interesting in the cards. We have the Hermit card. So this is about bringing the light. This is a hermit energy, also represents, perhaps even coming from the cave. So we know that this is Virgo energy, but we also see that it's kind of like a Merlin magical type energy. We also see there's an energy of creation with the sperm and the egg, but we see that the sun is in the lantern. So he's the bringer of light. He also represents sort of, being this beacon or this lighthouse representing bringing his wisdom out. But he does sort of have a tendency to want to retreat away from everyone as well. The next card that we see is the card of strength. And I think, we can all kind of relate to this card too at the moment with all the craziness happening externally. So it also could be telling us to go within. We see the Nine of Wands. Oh, Ben's disappeared. We'll wait for him to reconnect when we read. So yeah, with this Nine of Wands, traditionally, and I've got my little wand here, we know that this is kind of about traveling that middle path when we look into Hebrew and we look into the Kabbalah behind the cards as well. So with this, it's more kind of the guy that has the bump on the head is what we traditionally see in the tarot. And he's been through like all the trials and tribulations and all of the tests and things. Hey, Ben. So with this card, for me, it's not about like the left or the right or kind of like the, kindness and mercy or strict justice that we see within like both sides of the Kabbalah or Tree of Life. This is about the middle path or going straight to the Godhead. So spirit is literally telling us to access that wisdom within, access that God within, and also, I guess, that bigger influence of the universal God. What we're also seeing is being careful not to get swept up or pulled into lower states. So if we're looking at this from a dream world state, we're highly advanced beings that have a lot of wisdom, but we are on this journey to wake up from the duality world. It's a loud cockatoo out there.
That's a confirmation.
Yeah, little messenger there. So yeah, what spirit, there we go. So what spirit is showing me is we already essentially have this high state of consciousness. We are these godlike beings, or made, I guess, in that creation energy. But what we're seeing with this is we have fallen into this Princess of Wands situation. And you can see her desperately trying to make her way out of this situation. We see the sunshine on the end of her wand, her just wanting to come in to make the world a better place. But she gets pulled into what's called dominion. So that's more kind of like Two of Wands type energy. But look at the Christ consciousness flowers or the Mary Magdalene flowers that we have eternally burning on this altar. So we also see that there's like a purity of consciousness that's always within, even if we feel that we're in this kind of getting pulled into like this astral lower dream state. So if we jump back to this is what's happening. We're getting pulled in to this deeper state, but we are on a completion of this. So, oh, there's the cockatoo, just showed up in the background. I actually put a bird feeder there because they've been visiting so much. But yeah, we have Four of Wands energy. So this is almost like a sacred marriage with this avatar body and this spiritual energy that we're also working with. So Four of Wands energy, Aries and Venus, but we see here it's also called completion. So we then see the card of death. So we are on this kind of like reincarnation loop or cycle to do with being in this particular universe or being in this particular state of consciousness is the exact words, that way that Spirit is phrasing it. So we also have the card of love. So, there's some kind of contract or some kind of like agreement that we had to come down into this galaxy, into this world. So it does look like that we're waking up and starting to realize this cycle of completion. So yeah, there's the word cognizance is what Spirit's giving me around this. So let's have a look into some clarifiers and see what else they can give us in terms of advice for dealing with this at the moment, going through this waking up out of a dream state and tapping more into the theta, which is the superconscious. So we're more kind of becoming shamans navigating this territory at the moment. So the more that we can do that, the easier that it will be. But in other ways, it makes it harder when you realize that you're awake within a dream. Okay, let's have a look and flip these over. Oh, they want another one. So we have, hey Ben, fingers crossed, hopefully you're with us. I'm just checking you're not frozen. Oh, I think he might be frozen. So what we have with the 6 cards and I guess looking into clarification around waking up out of this dream state, there's a lot of conflict with those that are still dreaming. So we see 5 of Wands energy. So 5 of Wands energy being more kind of to do with Saturn and Leo. It's also known as an energy of strife. So we're currently seeing this being played out to do with like our galaxy or our, I guess, representation of the world. The other thing that Spirit was talking to me about this morning too, in regards to this, is I guess when we look back to, to growing up, and I'm a child of the 80s. So when we look into what was happening in the 80s, a lot of our programming was similar, whether we look at it on I just saw Larry saying, is Ben dreaming? He could be, but I think he's actually frozen. So what Spirit was referring to as well was really looking into things in our predictive programming that we're really having happen, I guess, worldwide. There's so many different programs running. There's so many different streams of consciousness that we now have access to on the internet, and so many different ideas. And we can really sort of, we're seeing that here with Beyond Mystic, that we've got such a gorgeous soul family. And we're seeing like a lot of different concepts and different topics and things that we're all kind of like gelling on and talking about. So that represents almost like one program within the dream, if we look at it that way. Whereas in the past, like growing up in the 80s, and for those of you out there growing up before that or even after that, we're seeing that we didn't really sort of have that program. So we more followed, I guess, the mainstream side of things, the mainstream newspapers, movies. All of this was easier to keep the program to one stream rather than the many streams that we have now. So we also see 6 of Cups. So with this 6 of Cups, this is about tapping into the multidimensional parts of self. So this will also help us to wake up from this dream reality and to help keep us progressing in more of a positive timeline. So when we realize that we can tap into multiple gifts, multiple abilities, this is also known as a card of, I just saw Laura say that Rumble's still down and YouTube is buffering here too. Oh gosh. And I think we might cut this one short today, just with all the technical difficulties, but I really just want to get into this topic, and it may be something that we revisit. But yeah, what we can see with this too is this Cancerian energy. And we see like the older lady giving to the inner child. So this really does sort of represent the 2 different states of consciousness, or 2 different states of, oh, thank you, Libby, you're so sweet. Hey, Ben, you back?
I hope so.
I was just saying we might have to cut this one short today, but I'll finish going into these cards because it is an important topic, and we can maybe even revisit the topic as well. But interesting answer coming up. It really is looking at this whole thing like a simulation, like a game, but it's telling us to really, there's conflict, there's multiple different consciousness and timelines and different streams that are being programmed into the reality at the moment. But the more that we can wake up to this, and I think he might have frozen again. Anyway, Ace of Cups. This is about focusing on your personal power. So with this Ace of Cups energy, this for me is about the aura. It's about our quantum energy field. So I'm just seeing that. Thank you, Dana. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Ah, thank you, Katie. You're so sweet. So yeah, with this Ace of Cups energy, for me, this is about focusing on our biofield. It's about focusing on the energy that we generate as living souls and really tapping into that frequency. Queen of Swords, we actually have so much more power to control this whole dimension, this whole game down here. This is about taking control of our avatar in this frequency, in this process. So we know with the Queen of Swords, she's actually about like waking up. She actually has the mask that she tears off in my favorite version of the deck. And she's about liberation. She's about freedom. She's about speaking her truth. She's clear. She's concise. She really channels a lot of wisdom and a lot of insight that comes in from higher planes and dimensions, because we see her amongst the clouds as well. And again, we have, excuse me, Two of Cups energy. So this is known as the card of love. It is Venus and Cancerian energy as well. So again, we see that we're kind of like working in this, like almost like, I keep getting shown this as like a dual world, or kind of being like in the avatar, I guess, body in this physical world, but also being a soul. So there's some kind of like soul contract or agreement with this. We also see Four of Disc. Now, this is Capricorn and Sun energy. What we also see with this is it's often referred to as the card of power. So I often see this as a castle with a water around the castle, or a moat. So this is interesting because this is about like opening that drawbridge to things that feel good, but closing it up to things that don't. What Spirit's referring to with this as well is, and it looks like my system might also cut out now. Sorry, guys. Weird tech stuff happening here on this end. Fingers crossed. But yeah, okay, we'll keep going. I just had weird pop-up things happen. So what we'll do is have a look into some oracle cards around this too. Oh, Spirit wants to first, if we can, have a look into this tarot that's based on Greek and already we had Ace of Swords come out. So really, if we're looking at this down here and the galaxy within, and we're looking at our galaxy, that would be the macrocosm. This would be the microcosm. So work on the things within to affect the outside. So we have chaos, the Ace of Swords energy, the Hanged Man, which is Prometheus. So Ace of Swords is really, new ideas, looking at things from kind of like a different vantage point. And with the Hanged Man, this is about breaking free from the matrix. So it's really about tapping into ideas, tapping into concepts and different things that are outside of kind of like this local universe within. So with the Hanged Man, oh, thank you, Larry. So with the Hanged Man too, for me, I always get the quote from Spirit of we can't solve the problem from the same level of which it's created, that Albert Einstein quote. So in order to kind of free ourselves from this matrix or this Hanged Man and to become illuminated or to become enlightened, hey, Ben. I love your persistence. I really admire that. Oh, Ben. So yeah, with this Hanged Man energy, this is really about bringing this illumination or this wisdom from within the matrix. So the only way to wake up, to escape this kind of reality or to illuminate this galaxy is from within. So they're just telling me to get a couple more cards. We have Three of Coins. This is really interesting, guys. Oh my gosh. Ben, mine's glitching out too. I don't know if you can hear me, but I think we might be on the last round of cards. We're on borrowed time here. So yeah, Three of Coins, the psychic gateway. For me, it's the crystals within the pineal, the crystals within the ear. So we're literally getting shown how to tap out of this matrix is to go within. I think this is probably a pretty sensitive topic that we're talking about energetically. I was hearing someone on YouTube also refer to demonic forces not wanting certain information and things to get out at the moment, and that they're really affecting algorithms, they're really affecting internet and streaming of different shows. So yeah, I think we've still got some good answers if we can edit out like all of the other background distractions and things. And, this to me just confirms what an important topic this is, to know that we're coming out of this dream realm. We're starting to wake up, which means that we have a foot in each world. We're each becoming like the hermit, like the shaman, able to sense both realities, but all of the answers lie going within, using this Queen of Swords energy to actually spell cast ourselves out of this into a wakefulness. Psychic gateway. Do you have any more to add to that before you get zapped back out into another dimension, Ben?
This is a dream. Oh my goodness. Look, the Mercury retrograde types of energies, I think if there was an epicenter for all of it must be here right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So crazy.
So sorry, I've been away so much from this live stream, but I'm getting the sense that I suppose with the energies coming through from Galactic Center, that Spirit is essentially saying that we need to go within in order to be able to psychically sense the two parallels. Is that where we're going to?
Yeah, and when we look at combining the gematria, I'll just go over. So love is the law. Think avatar body transfer, and the astral soul who said he is not getting up. So when we look at it from that kind of way too, and the Magnus who is the Son of God, own your special, but she who is the most precious of all galaxies. So this is the galaxy within. This is where our focus, our attention needs to be. Everything else is part of the dream world. Everything else is a distraction. And as much as I'd love to really research and go down that rabbit hole and really kind of journey with that, Spirit's painting the picture of this all being kind of an illuminated painting or a movie. And literally we're walking like this. So we can kind of tap back into the soul frequency that's kind of contained within this avatar. That's perhaps how we'll wake up out of this dream reality and world. And I'd love to hear in the comments, as well, if anyone's having kind of wake up experiences where, the information that's coming through from Spirit, is this resonating? Is this maybe some of your downloads and wisdom that you guys are tapping into as well? Oh, hey, Ken. Hi, Kyla. It's so lovely to see beautiful, familiar faces on here. And I saw Libby and Laura and Larry as well.
So I hear what Spirit's saying, and I'm really curious about it. Where I wanted to go, I suppose, with this as well, is that obviously we have the 3D and we have the avatars that we're in, and I suppose these avatars don't always work the way that we want them to work, right? And when it comes to going within or recognizing the difference, sometimes the amount of mind chatter that can occur with the human body can kind of distract us, right? And so the message that I was trying to get out there from Spirit, on top of what you're saying, is what can we do at a practical level as individuals to extricate ourselves from all of that noise, to block it out, or to help us with managing that noise, to be able to see the forest through the trees, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So if we look back to the brainwaves as well, and this being kind of like a source code hack, so if we can alter this avatar to get into these states, it helps to stop the mind chatter. So when I've been hooked up to brainwave tech and had my brainwave measured and things like that, when I go into state, it'll usually show that I go into like a really deep, almost like sleep state, but then I go into like a heightened focused awareness, which is contrary to what a lot of brain surgeons and neurologists and neuroscientists think that was possible. But you also see it with psychics like Tyler Henry, John Edward, different psychics that have been hooked up to, I think Bashar might have even been hooked up, Daryl Aiken. I mean,
Yeah.
Bashar being who he channels. But even like, I've got this cool little device here. Let's just grab this. So my son actually made this, Ben. So this is a headband.
Wow.
So he's quite the genius when it comes to tech side of things. So you actually put this on, and now he thinks this is total woo. So you plug it into your computer. It's got a little Arduino set up here, but essentially what it does, it runs a little program. And I actually found, I guess, like the how-to side of this from the Museum of Tarot, but essentially it puts you into different pulse cycles. So there's a different hertz that runs electrically through this. So we know that we are electrical beings, so therefore electricity, and even when we tap into this states, we're changing our electrical field, we're changing the electricity within the brainwave frequencies. So if you guys can, either use an external thing to program or to put you in, or use a headband training device like Muse or Mind Focus or Brain Tap or any of the other cool devices and things out there, it can help you measure to make sure that you are getting into these deeper states. For me, though, it's breath work. That's the simple, the cheapest, the freest way. And even though this was fun to, to play with a few times, and you do notice the difference after about 20 minutes or so, I really trust that we have all of the hardware and equipment within this avatar. So even if you're just doing cyclical box breathing, what you notice is that you can go into psychic state. And then when you want to, you can kind of command that state at will. So it's about practice. So it would be doing a breath in for the count of 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, in for 4, repeating that kind of cycle, building your way up to cycles of 8. And what we see is that the brain drops more into kind of like a theta type state. So yeah, that's kind of like, I guess, where spirit's pointing, but it's also where I notice the difference as well in terms of eliminating mind chatter. Other things like hemisync or binaural beats are really good too, for really kind of like helping us to get into deeper states of consciousness. And I think that, we love to complicate things and make it much harder than what it is. So just bring it back to the breath is the simplest way. You do have to do it for maybe about like depends like how easy you get into it, anywhere from like do that breath cycle 4 times up to about like 8 times, and you'll notice the change within your brainwave signals.
So it's essentially committing to a discipline, really, a daily habitual kind of set of actions that help you to learn how to go in and out of that state, until such time as you were saying, you can command that kind of thing in, to be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And, hypnosis is another great method. So I practice self-hypnosis as well. So I've done a little bit of hypnotherapy training and also use hypnobirthing for some of my babies. But even just like a simple process of like having your eyes look up. So you're sort of stretching or rolling your eyes to look up as far as you can at a roof line, counting yourself down 3, 2, 1, and then dropping your eyes and doing that induction 3 times. That will actually drop you into a deep state. So you can even just say the word sleep now. And what you notice is after you've done it quite a few times, or even having someone else take you through an induction, you can put yourself into that state at will. And, it's such a beautiful method. So for example, going into labor, I think it was 9 p.m. at night, and I was in that state just from doing self-induction until I think it was 2:30 or something in the morning, and it felt like 5 minutes. So you can really alter kind of like your perception of time, space, reality, and put yourself into a space between places. When I did come out of that and I got checked on, all of a sudden everything felt very intense, and it was a little bit too difficult to get back into that state. But it was incredible for, the pain and everything, to feel like that time from 9 until 2:30 in the morning felt like 5 minutes. So I think that we have an amazing machine, computer, biocomputer. Yeah, so practice playing with the states. As we said on the show 2 weeks ago, it really is getting kind of like childlike and tapping into creation, imagination side of things. So we all need to pick up this paintbrush and start kind of painting and creating and having fun again within this reality. And remember that Five of Wands card that we had, the audience would have seen. So this is really not getting externally distracted. They're trying to pull us into having too many cooks in the kitchen or too many painters trying to paint on a canvas. We need to like really peel it back and go within.
So I suppose the message might also be that the the distractions might also intensify. Is that kind of what I'm hearing as well? Or are we going to
Yes.
stay at a steady state?
Yeah, no. So we're definitely seeing the way that Spirit was trying to show me when I asked the question, like just last night as well. They kept showing that because there's so many different creators on this timeline, like right now, or so many different people trying to, I guess, pull or distract, that we've got like multiple timelines. So it's essentially imagine, for example, this being a skipping rope, and there's one timeline and this is getting flicked or put energy into this rope. And so we might hold on to or gravitate to this. So this starts to become one of our realities. And then we may bring in, other strings and they start flickering at the same time. And so what happens is we get different story, or we tap into the internet and all of a sudden we're on a different timeline. We're starting to kind of feel into multiple things. And then this becomes like a tangle of strings, essentially, looking like this.
Like that, yeah.
So we need to, come back to our timeline, come back to that connection that we have to source, come back to the connection with higher self, not let our energy be pulled into other kitchen where there's different recipes being made. We need to come back to our magic, to our essence, and really think about what it is that we're creating.
That's a really powerful message, and me myself, and I like to bring things back to what I'm experiencing as well, because the only thing I can really generate some of my questions from, and some of the areas that we go, is to have a broader perspective on what I'm experiencing in my life as well, what I can see that's happening, and I've certainly been noticing, especially over the last 3 months, 4 months, where energies, I may very well be directing my, I don't know, what would you call it, 3D kind of focus on a
Yeah.
particular goal. And it's not until those distractions are surrendered that the focus comes in, and voila, whatever I was trying to do comes into being, right? And it's almost like the 3D kind of push, push, push to get something done doesn't work anymore, because we're in that soup of what you were just describing, of these clashing energies that are swinging over each other. And it's kind of like, maybe navigating through some kind of cosmic, you know, um, what do you call it? A comet field or something like that, where things are colliding with each other.
I love that analogy. And that's so, I love how you bring like your personal side into it too, because I think, if we look at just like what we're talking about today in the avatar and, just, yeah, I love the way that you express that, Ben. So Spirit, while you were talking about it, was also showing, say if we have point A where we're at currently, and then we have, the end or the end goal. So what happens when we start to like just fully visualize or think about like the end? We kind of travel through space and time to make this happen quicker. So we need to meditate and focus on the end result. We need to step into what that feels like. And that will be a straighter line to actually getting to that. When we start to put in doubt, or we start to kind of put in how that might be done, or we start to think about maybe I could do it this way, or maybe I could do it that way, it becomes a much harder journey. Does that make sense? That was sort of the
Mm,
way Spirit was explaining
yeah.
it to me when you were talking as well.
Yeah, and also, I suppose it's the old adage of being present, right? As well, I think, because what I kind of think of when you're saying that is when you project your thoughts too far into the future, as in too much planning or whatever you want to call it about how I'm going from point A to point B. You're thinking about all the noise on the in between, and that's the catch now. That's the distraction.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfectly said.
Mm. Wow. Okay. That makes it a lot clearer for me, and I hope it really makes it clearer for the audience as well. Because I think bringing our own personal experiences into these types of shows can help to make things clearer for everyone. And I hope that
Oh, I think Ben may have gone. Um, it looks like, oh, and look at this 444. So I think that might be a good note to leave on. But thank you all so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your patience with all of the Mercury retrograde interference and perhaps even interference from some other things that didn't want the message getting out. So thank you for sticking with us. We love you guys, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
thank you everyone for joining us. Apologies with the in and out today, but thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks very much.